Welcome back to part 2. Due to unforeseen incidents throughout the afternoon's racing, the handicap race has now been replaced with another scratch race. In the meantime, we've caught up with some of the drivers to see just how this season's going.
Absolutely fantastic season. 4 wins out of 6 on the scratch races so far, so everything's going well.
I'm having a lot of fun, staying out of trouble and looking forward to the rest of it.
Tremendous fun.
Having good fun, good crowd, and as you can see it's pretty wet today, so keep it in one piece.
Hoping to complete my 6th race this time and get the licence signed off, then looking forward to Spa.
I had a fantastic time, thank you. Yeah, brilliant time. It's my first wet race today, so I'm a bit nervous, to be honest, but it'll be good. Paul, how's it going for you?
It's okay. I could do that without ballsing up.
The ever loquacious Paul Golding, a man of very few words it seems today. The cars heading to the grid then, including a sideways Andrew Walsh, assessing how much traction there is. It's the same grid that we had for race 1. So Mark Funnell, Chris Randall, the front row. Andrew Walsh and Steve Williams on row 2. Russ Treasure and Gavin Kirby are on the 3rd row of the grid. Andrew Kell starts 11th, a man to watch. So too is Simon Scuffham. But missing from 17th on the grid is the Vauxhall BX220 of John Thorne. And also missing, lower back of the grid from 30th, Richard Abra. His car damaged in the earlier race, so he is not on the grid either. It runs as a scratch race, but there's also a sealed handicap, whereby the handicap's going to be built into the results at the very end. So there are going to be 2, in effect, sets of results. One set of results for what you see on the track, and the other with the handicap built into it at the end. Well, I'm afraid that the spectators that have stayed to watch this, and you can see it confirmed as a wet race, are getting very damp indeed, and this is going to make it a real challenge for the drivers then. The grid is formed, we're about to go racing for the second race here, but quickly from Funnell and Walsh, they stop, they get away now. And 1 or 2 really struggling for traction as they accelerate up towards Avon Rise for the first time. It's Mark Funnell's yellow car alongside Chris Randall. Randall, remember, punted out of race 1. Is he going to be able now to grab the lead on the way up towards Quarry? No, he can't. Mark Funnell making a better start this time around than in race 1. And he leads with Chris Randall second. In 3rd place, turning his way through is Andrew Walsh, and you can see how they're tiptoeing around the corner. Steve Williams going through in 4th ahead of Simon Scuffham then as they try to work out exactly where the grip is. On board with Gavin Kirby now. He turns his way through the S's, gently back onto the power, into the right-hander at Old Paddock. And then the speed builds as they drop down through Hammerdown towards Tower. The midfield pack here you can see slithering its way through the S's. Andrew Kell right on the tail of Sean Bicknell in the background. One car gets all sideways, and drivers now having, in many cases, the worst conditions they've ever raced in, of course, because there are so many newcomers to racing this year that it takes the alien to them. Right, on board with Andrew Walsh, heading up towards Tower and then towards Bobby's. Ahead of him is Chris Randall in second. Still, of course, Mark Funnell who leads, and going off there is Randall. He's got it all wrong, and this time he's got only himself to blame. Chris Randall has chucked it away, I'm afraid. He's done a complete 360. He's on the grass, he gets back onto the tarmac. Now, but Mark Funnell is the race leader then, with Andrew Walsh now up into 2nd place on the road. In 3rd place is Steve Williams. And Chris Randall, after that spin, has got a lot of work to do to fight back. He's 4th at the moment, coming down towards Camp Corner. Everybody else files their way through. There's Simon Scuffham ahead of Russ Treasure, ahead of Chris Pearson, ahead of Gavin Kirby. I'll say that Andrew Walsh is second on the road because there is, I'm led to believe, some debate about that start he made. Remember, we saw both him and Mark Funnell creep and then stop. Well, the start for Andrew Walsh is under investigation. Out of Camp Corner go the Class A runners. Number 8 there, Graham Walsh turning his way through. Sarah Crowder right up behind him. And nobody being too heroic at the moment in these awful conditions. And there, a 10-second penalty board for number 6. That means Andrew Walsh is guilty as charged after creeping at the start. You could argue it's a little bit harsh that, because he went and stopped, didn't really gain an advantage, but the officials say penalty. In the meantime, Simon Scuffham has got right up with him Russ Treasure. Russ Treasure still looking for his first finish of the year. Mark Funnell at the moment is keeping Andrew Walsh at bay, but remember, as Walsh slides his way up towards Quarry, that he's going to have 10 seconds added to his race time, and therefore he's not really second at the moment, he's a rather distant 3rd. Equally, to win the race, he's going to have to get past Mark Funnell and then pull away by 10 seconds. As that, Paul Patterson having a big lose. Round it goes through Avon Rise. He spins his way back into the right direction. Oh, that is a big moment. He's bad enough spinning when you get onto that wet grass where there's no traction at all and you're just a passenger. Sean Bicknell here, keeping Andrew Kell at bay. Jamie Allison tucked up behind him as well. Through old paddock they go, then left and hammer down. Andrew Kell in this car that he uses as a road car, but the race leader, Mark Funnell, then a man who knows Castle Combe well, turning his way through Camp Corner in the lead of the race. He's being pursued vigorously by Andrew Walsh. As here, Simon Scuffham is ahead of Russ Treasure. Gavin Kirby making his move on the inside here. Can Gavin go through? Let's see, he has. He's got ahead of Chris Pearson in the background. The orange car of Kirby goes through. Simon Scuffham, rather regretting he chose this race to put the roof down because it's like a mobile bath, that car. It's filling up nicely. He's ahead of Russ Treasure, whose car looks brighter in these gloomy conditions. Here's the tail going down out of Bobby's towards Camp. There is Paul Golding battling with 53 Mark Peasy. Paul Golding, you have a bit of sympathy for in this. It's created a super successful series. It's brought lots of people into racing, and yet he's at the back of it most times. And there's a spin ahead of him though there. Number 12 is Ian Smith, who's got it all wrong. Pointing the wrong way as Mark Funnell, the race leader, and also now second place on the road man Andrew Walsh going through. In other words, Paul Golding and Mark Peasy are about to be lapped, and Ian Smith, hopefully in a moment, can sort himself out. There's Chris Randall, who is within 10 seconds of Andrew Walsh. Therefore, Randall, third on the road, is set for second place at the moment. A bit frustrating this for Andrew Walsh. He's got the pace to live with Mark Funnell, but not to catch and pass him. Paul Golding there, battling his way out of the right-hander of Tower. There's Chris Randall, very experienced driver, Chris, not only in these sorts of cars, he's as well, so in many respects, he's the benchmark driver. On at the front, he's on his way then down towards Camp, as here Andrew Kell turns his way down towards Tower. And great battles raging on behind him. Sean Bicknell there, number 19, was in danger of losing a place. Has he been able to keep the place? No, Jamie Allison I think has gone ahead of him now, so Sean Bicknell slipping back through the pack here. There's Nick Kay, the man that won the handicap race earlier on in the year at Snetterton, has got Hans Baumhart behind him. And these two are in danger of being lapped. Nick Kay not going very well in these very wet conditions. Some drivers being more cautious than others. Nick Kay, who has been racing on and off for many years, former Super Road Saloon champion with the Talbot Sunbeam Lotus. He's behind Malcolm Sanders then in 21, but they're the race leader. The yellow car, number 26, and Mark Funnell working his way through the traffic. Next target is Nick Kay. Comes up alongside him, flashes past. There is Malcolm Sanders, who's going to be lapped in a moment. Diving up on the inside is Mark Funnell, and the way that he's treating these back markers, it's as though he was fighting for a genuine track position. He leads, he's lapping them, but he's being very uncompromising, and this means he's building up the advantage over Andrew Walsh. This is Andy Gordon coming down towards Camp, and he's found all the wet parts, and he's on. He's on the very wet grass. Is he going to hit anything solid? He's just going to get away with it. He finds the tarmac there, the vehicle access route. That helps to slow him down, and now Andy Gordon's got to get back on. Hits the regulator, up in the gears, back into the race. That could have been a whole lot worse for him, as Mark Funnell here is looking good for a second win of the day. You can see as he applies the power, the car gets a little bit sideways going through Quarry. He's still pushing very hard indeed now, going up towards the S's. Andrew Walsh still second on the road, but it's not going to be a second place finish here because of the way that Chris Randall is staying within 10 seconds of him. Further battles rage on here. Look at Class A and B drivers making their way up Avon Rise, heading towards Quarry. And this series, in its very first year, has attracted huge crowds and lots of newcomers to racing. 47 there, Paul Patterson goes through. He's already had a spin in this race, battling his way now up towards the S's, as in the meantime Chris Randall goes through. The traffic in his wake, Malcolm Sanders, Nick Kay running together. Chris Randall, remember, may not be on target to win this race, but second place now. The way that he's going is pretty impressive. 22 Anthony Clark in the chasing pack, and there, look, number 11, Russ Treasure, who has got everything crossed that he's going to have his first finish of the season. Got one back marker ahead, which is Paul Patterson. He goes round the outside and they touch, and Paul Patterson gets caught by that and has another spin. He's already had one big moment, and that is another spin, not really his fault. Russ Treasure being a little bit optimistic, I think, going round the outside. And Treasure comes within a whisker of not finishing this race either. It could have gone the other way, really, as there in the background, Ian Smith is off again. Checkered flag is about to go the way of this man. Number 26, Mark Funnell, powering his way out of Camp Corner. There's the checkered flag on the gantry, and Mark Funnell wins for the second time this season and the second time today. Excellent drive put in that by Mark Funnell to win from Chris Randall, who on the corrected times is going to be second, and Andrew Walsh is third. But Russell Treasure deserves a colossal cheer. He finishes in fourth place, his first finish of the season. Steve Williams is 5th. The top 6 rounded out by Chris Pearson, ahead of Simon Scuffham and Gavin Kirby, the Class A winner, with Andrew Kell coming home in 9th and 10th, going to Martin Roberts. Gavin Kirby mixing 2 Class A wins here at Castle Combe, ahead of Martin Roberts and Andy Gordon. Class B goes to Steve Williams, ahead of Chris Pearson and then Simon Scuffham. Class C is as overall. That goes the way of Mark Funnell, with Chris Randall finishing 2nd, and Andrew Walsh is 3rd, whilst Russ Treasure gets his first finish of the season ahead of Andrew Kell. And what about the handicap race then? Well, this is where 1 or 2 rather bemused people are going to have some glory. Andy Gordon, despite his moment, wins the handicap ahead of Steve Wenzel and then Tom Chataway in 3rd.
Congratulations, 3rd place. How was your race?
Yeah, excellent. It was very tricky conditions, visibility very poor, but really enjoyed it and learnt an awful lot. Excellent.
And you didn't get bored?
No, I didn't get bored this time. I didn't have time to get bored, no.
Well done. And fantastic, your first race?
Yeah, really pleased. Board was the last thing on my mind. The whole of the first lap was just a blur of spray. After that, settled down. Just really enjoyed the race. Really good.
Fantastic. And you'll be back at Donington, will you?
I will be there at Donington without doubt, yes.
Excellent stuff. And Andy, a win?
A mystery moment. I'm not entirely sure how that came about. It was really hairy out there. Big hats off to everyone actually for keeping it as much on the track as they did, because that was really, the first bend was very lively.
Well done to you. Great race from all 3 of you. Well done. Thanks a lot. Well, that concludes another fantastic weekend's racing here at Castle Combe. And of course, the drivers did get their wet race in the end. Join us next time when we'll be at Donington.